which you all work today, and to the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people participating in the conference. I pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, and celebrate the diversity of Aboriginal peoples and their ongoing cultures and connections to the lands and waters of Australia. I will now share my screen and we will run through some tips for today. Well, thank you very much for joining. We're extremely excited to be hosting the 2020 conference, if perhaps a little bit nervous about the move into the virtual world. Normally, the conference is a fantastic opportunity for the eWater user community to get together, to share some of the novel and exciting ways that the tools are being used, to catch up and problem solve and think about the next generation of modelling. Normally that's face-to-face with predominantly people from Australia and occasionally from overseas. Whilst it's unfortunate that we can't meet face-to-face this year, it does mean that we have quadrupled the amount of people attending the conference, which is extremely exciting, and I extend a very warm welcome to all of you joining from around the world. And my apologies to those of you that are up very early or awake very late. So thank you. Before we move into the conference, I thought I would share a couple of highlights from the community space for the year. There's three things I wanted to highlight. First one is the major revamp of the eWater website. If you've looked at our website in the past, you will have seen that it was pretty old-fashioned, very information dense and quite out of date. So we've spent quite a bit of time this year giving it a complete makeover, writing lots of new content, trying to get a more easy user interface for you to use. So I do encourage you to have a look at it, read case studies, find out about all the exciting things that are happening out there in the world of eWater tools, and maybe you might get to also learn a bit more about the very talented people here at eWater. I'd also like to mention that we have established a new community forum. This is a place where we encourage you to get together to discuss potential issues you might be having and to share knowledge amongst the community. It's a moderated forum. It doesn't replace sort of support for your detailed technical modelling issues, but it's a good way to sort of get tips from some more experienced users, find out perhaps if people have been using Source in the way that you might want to use Source, test out some new ideas that you might have. So you can join the forum via the eWater toolkit homepage. There's a nice clear link that says community forum. Just follow that and you'll use your toolkit ID to log in. And lastly, I thought I would mention our webinars that we have run this year. Obviously, we've all taken up to virtual communications a lot more in 2020. So we've done that by accompanying our production releases with some detailed technical webinars. They've proved quite popular. You can watch those recordings on our eWater YouTube channel, and we hope to continue with that and perhaps start to diversify the types of things that we do. So I would just like to give a quick thank you to all of those people that have helped make these exciting initiatives happen. Thanks for all your support. As you can see, we've tried to use a platform that mimics a real conference. So to make the most of that, I'm just going to run through a couple of things to help you maximise the remote platform. Firstly, it does have some particular technical requirements. If you're having problems, and there's some quite useful information under the learning in the needs support section, particularly the learning articles. I might be able to help you troubleshoot. Otherwise, you might have seen that Aaron in the chat sent in the chat box. He might be able to help you. We do acknowledge that some of you will have security systems that won't allow you to share your microphone and your camera. You will, however, be able to watch and to listen and to send chat messages, but feel free to log off and log back in on your personal computer if you'd like to interact. If you have some sound issues, then often that can be easily resolved with headphones. We do encourage you to network, and the easiest way to do that is to turn your camera and microphone on, and that allows you to speak with the people at your table, noting that you can't chat during presentations. You can also move tables by just double-clicking on an empty seat. And as the conference fills up, you'll see that we will have more than one floor. So if you look at the side, the left panel, you'll see that there's some different floors for you to select. So feel free to jump around floors, find some old friends, make some new friends. We really want to encourage you to chat. As I said, you can send text messages to others at your table as a group or privately to an individual. If you want to know what's coming up, then I have loaded an agenda into the platform, and you can access that up here on this little icon. Just a few more tips. Sometimes the screens look a bit small. I suggest that you maximise the presenter's shared screen if you would like to look at their slides in detail. We will be taking questions during presentations. There is a Q&A chat feature. If you just type your question in and I will answer that for you. Feel free to send up a follow question directly to the presenter or to grab them at one of our break sessions if you'd like to chat more. I also encourage you to edit your profile. If you put a picture and your name, then it's much easier for everyone, well, for me to know you if I need to find you, but also for people to know who you are and where you work, and helps the networking experience. I appreciate that online conferences can be a bit much at times, so we have created a breakout session. You will see a little picture like this one here on the left-hand side panel. If you click that, then it'll take you to a link to a place where you can just hang out and chat to some other people. Good place if you want to deliberately organise to meet with someone else at the conference. And then simply to come back to the main session, then look, there is an eWater logo in the top left-hand corner. Click on that and follow the links. If you don't plan on watching all of the conference today, I suggest that you either log out and come back in, or you go to the breakout session and come back to the main session when there's a presentation that you want to hear. But there's lots of really fun stuff to learn, so I encourage you to stay all day. So that's all from me. I would now like to welcome eWater's Chief Executive, Dr. Robert Carr, to the stage to give a brief overview of some 2020 highlights. Now, there will be some lag, so just a little bit of patience.
Here I am. Thank you, Trudy.
Robert.
Mic is on, camera is on. Excellent. Thank you. Here we go. Well, thank you. And look, welcome everyone. As Trudy said, with over 500 registrations, what an amazing response, and thank you all. We are hugely grateful to our community for your support and ongoing engagement. I'm just going to give a quick rundown of some of the highlights from eWater in 2020, and like everyone, we've had to adjust to the COVID-19 situation. Fortunately, as a primarily technology company, we've been able to set everybody up from home and commence the heavy use of our online collaboration platforms, which initially has been challenging, but as we've settled into it, has really started to work well. I want to acknowledge the positive spirit in which our teams have adapted to these new circumstances and maintained our productivity through some challenging work from home circumstances, in the case of people with young children at home in particular. Now, of course, as modelers, we regard reading any kind of manual as a sign of weakness and failure, so not having a pre-prepared manual for COVID-19 response has not been a problem for us. We've worked our way through each issue as it has arisen. I want to recognise our staff focus group for coming up with lots of good ideas. Probably in hindsight, a good case study for agile development as applied to a pandemic, and heaven forbid that it happens again, but next time we'll probably just take out a JIRA issue and go from there. As restrictions have eased, we're slowly and sympathetically making our way back into the office, but it's clear there's been positive lessons from this experience and the flexible way of working, and our future work practices will be a